Hi, hello everyone. Welcome to the today's session. Today's session will discuss the group 17 elements. What is the group 17 elements and what are the elements is present in the group 17? Let us discuss here. Group 17. So generally group 17 elements also we call as a halogens. Group 17 elements also we call as a halogens. So why group 17 elements we call as a halogen? Then what is the meaning of halogens? In halogens, halo nothing but say salt, genus nothing but produce. In halogens, halo nothing but sea salt and genus nothing but produce. Genus nothing but produce. So sea salt is produced when these group of elements, when the group 17 elements, when it is react with the alkali metals or when it is react with the alkaline earth metals, it will be form the compounds of salts. So that's why the 17th group of elements we call as a halogens. Right. So now this is a 17th group of elements. So it's why the 17th group of elements called halogens. But this is the reason here. So in this 17th group of elements, fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, astatine. These elements are present in the 17th group of elements. So what are the elements are present here? Fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, astatine elements are present here. So fluorine is a gas. And liquid also is available in the chlorine also is in the form of gas. Next of all, bromine is a liquid. Next of all, iodine, the physical appearance is solid. Next of all, astatine also it is a solid, but the astatine is a radioactive element. Astatine is what? It is behaving as a radioactive element. So next of all, what is the color of the fluorine here? So color of the fluorine generally it is appearing in the yellow color, and the chlorine is a greenish. Chlorine is a greenish yellow color. Next of all, bromine is a reddish brown color. So bromine is appearing as a reddish brown color. Next of all, iodine is fluorine, chlorine, bromine, and iodine is the liquid, right? Iodine is violet color, and it is appearing in the violet color, and astatine is a dark color. Generally, astatine is appearing as a dark color. So this is what seventh group of elements or 17th group of elements, and physical state and color. Physical state and color. So what fluorine is yellow color, chlorine is greenish yellow color, bromine is reddish brown color, iodine is violet, and astatine is the dark color. So this is the what physical states and physical appearance of the seventh group of elements. So next one is periodic properties. The next topic is periodic properties of the group 17. Periodic properties. So what is a periodic property? Periodic property nothing but the properties generally which is repeated in the regular intervals of time. We know that periodic properties, right? So in these periodic properties, we will discuss about the atomic radius. We will discuss about that atomic radius, and the next one is electronegativity. Next one is electron affinity. Atomic radius, electronegativity, electron affinity. Next of all, ionization energy. Okay, atomic radius, electronegativity, electron affinity, and ionization energy. Atomic radius. So atomic radius generally in every group of element top to bottom atomic radius is increases. At the same way, in the 17th group of elements also top to bottom atomic radius is increases. In the 17th group of elements also top to bottom atomic radius what happening here increases. Next of all, electronegativity. Electronegativity depend on the generally atomic size. Less atomic size containing atom generally having the more electronegativity. So depend on that fluorine having the more electronegativity than the chlorine. Then chlorine is more than the bromine. Bromine is more than the iodine. So this is the electronegativity atom. Let's come to the electron affinity. Electron affinity also depend on the atomic size, because electron affinity nothing but the capacity of the atom. Okay, it is releasing the amount of energy when you are accepting the electron. That is simply we call as a electron affinity. It is also depending on the atomic size. So where the atomic size is less, generally electron affinity of that atom is more, because atomic size less containing element it is ready to accept the electron more. So that's why electron affinity will be more. But here what happened, due to the small size of the fluorine, whatever the valence electron present on the fluorine, and what is the incoming electron there, between the two electrons repulsion is possible. So due to that repulsion, fluorine cannot accept the electron properly. So that's why the fluorine electron affinity is less, right? So then highest electron affinity here chlorine. So chlorine can accept the electron very easily because of the more size of the chlorine, but fluorine cannot accept the electron because of the water less size. Because of the less size, what happen here, repulsion is possible between the valency electrons of the fluorine to the coming electron. So because of that, fluorine electron affinity less than the chlorine, and the next one it is the bromine, and the next one it is iodine. So this is the electron affinity. Next of all, ionization energy. Ionization energy is indirectly proportional to the atomic size. Atomic size, what happening here? Top to what atomic size increasing. At the same time, top to what atomic size is ionization energy is decreases here. So atomic radius and ionization energy will be indirectly proportional. That is very known factor that is. So ionization energy, top to bottom what happening here? Ionization energy top to bottom it is decreases because atomic radius is increases. So this is the periodic properties of the 17th group of element. Atomic radius obviously top to bottom increases. Ionization energy opposite to the atomic radius top to bottom decreases. Next of all, electronegativity depend on the atomic size. So fluorine is least atomic size, that's why fluorine electronegativity will be more here. Next of all, electron affinity. Electron affinity we are expecting the fluorine is more, but due to the small size and due to the repulsions between the electrons, the chlorine electron affinity will be more than the fluorine. So this is a periodic properties of the group 17 elements, right? So next one is binary acids. Next one is binary acids. So binary acids here what? Hydrogen fluoride, hydrogen chloride, hydrogen bromide and hydrogen iodide. This is acting as a binary acids. Okay, so these are what here? Binary acid. What is the binary acids in this group of element? Hydrogen fluoride, hydrogen chloride, hydrogen bromide, hydrogen iodide. So these are the generally binary acids. These acids are behaving as a what? Binary acids in the 17th group of element. So next one is a bond dissociation energy. Next one is what? Bond dissociation energy. So what is the bond dissociation energy? Bond dissociation is nothing but the amount of energy required to dissociate the bond or break the bond. Right. So in which molecule the bond dissociation energy is more, we are going to discuss now. So what molecules we have to take the 17th group of element. So what is that? Fluorine, next of all chlorine, next of all bromine, and next of all what? Iodine. So fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine. Now if you take the fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, top to bottom atomic size what happening? Increases. When the top to bottom atomic size is increases, the distance between the two atoms of the nucleus also increases. When the distance between the two atoms of the nucleus is increases, we can break the bond easily. So that means atomic internuclear distance is increases. Internuclear distance is increases. The bond length also increases. At the time we can break the bond easily. At the time we have to apply the amount of energy. So we can say that blindly iodine atomic size is more. When the iodine atomic size is more, internuclear distance is more. Internuclear distance is more, we can break the bond easily. Bond dissociation energy is very less. Okay, after the iodine bond dissociation energy, bromine bond dissociation energy very less. Then you have to check for the fluorine and chlorine. So where the atomic size is less, there the internuclear distance will be less. Okay, at that time we can say that bond length is less. Bond length is nothing but we can say the bond is strong. So but here what happened? Fluorine compared to every element in this group, fluorine atomic size is less. We are expecting the bond length is less and bond dissociation energy we are expecting as a more. But the same factor in the electron affinity, same we have to discuss here also. Those in the electron affinity, same we have to discuss here also. Electron to electron repulsion at the same time due to the small size of the fluorine, okay, between the electron to electron repulsion, the bond is not behaving as a strong bond. So the bond will be break easily due to the repulsion between the fluorine atoms valency electrons. So that's why here what happened? Fluorine bond dissociation energy is less than the fluorine. Okay, fluorine bond dissociation energy is what here? Less than the chlorine. Right, sorry here. After the bromine, this will come. So here fluorine will come and here fluorine will come. Right, very sorry here. So what is coming here? Fluorine is coming here. Next of all, bromine is coming. So after the chlorine, bromine will come. After the bromine, fluorine will come. After that, iodine will come. So after the bromine, after the chlorine, what is coming? Bromine. After the chlorine, bromine is coming. After the bromine, fluorine you have to take. Right. So this is the bond dissociation energy. So bond dissociation energy for which molecule is very more? Chlorine is more. Next of all, what? Bromine. Next is what? Fluorine. Next of all, what? Iodine. So here why bond dissociation energy of fluorine is very less, nothing but due to the repulsions between the valence electrons of the fluorine atom to fluorine atom in a molecule. Due to the repulsion, the bond will break easily. Right. So this is about what? Bond dissociation energy. So after the bond dissociation energy, next one is the hydrogen bonding. Next one is what? Hydrogen bonding. So what is the meaning of hydrogen bond or hydrogen bonding? The bond possible between the highly electronegative atom and to that of oxygen. Sorry, to that of hydrogen. Okay, the bond formed between the highly electronegative atom to the hydrogen, generally we call as a hydrogen bond. So finally, the hydrogen bond is dependent on the electronegativity of the atom. Electronegativity of the atom is way more, hydrogen bond will be strong. Right, so it will form a strong hydrogen bond will be formed. Now we know that in the 17th group of element, highest electronegativity element is fluorine. So fluorine can make the what a strong hydrogen bond will be made. So now the hydrogen bonding order is what? Highest electronegativity is fluorine. So due to that, a strong hydrogen bond will be positive to the hydrogen fluoride. So next of all hydrogen fluoride, next of all hydrogen bromide, and the next of all hydrogen iodide. So due to the what here, electronegativity of the fluorine is very more. Next to chlorine, next to bromine, next to iodine. So this is the hydrogen bonding in the 7th group of elements, right? So now here, due to the hydrogen bond, hydrogen fluoride can form the dimer and primary form also it will be formed. So for example, dimeric form, this is the hydrogen fluoride and this is also hydrogen fluoride. Here highly electronegative atom is fluorine and here hydrogen. So between these two, the bond is formed. So this is we can say as the hydrogen bond. Here also highly electronegative fluorine atom and this is the hydrogen. Between these two, the bond is forming. This is hydrogen bond. So now we can say this is the dimeric form. What you can say this is a dimeric form. So now hydrogen fluoride can form the dimeric and can primary form also possible due to the hydrogen bond here. So this is what a hydrogen bond. And the next one is acidity. Next one is what? Acidity of the water 17th group of elements hydrides. Right. So simply we can say that is what? Hydrogen fluoride. Next of all what? Hydrogen bromide. Next of all hydrogen fluorine. Next of all hydrogen chlorine. Next of all hydrogen bromine. Next of all hydrogen iodine. Okay, hydrogen fluoride, hydrochloric acid, hydrobromic acid, and hydroiodic acid. Right. So in these, which is having the water acidity is more, which is having the more acidity. So we are discussing about the what? Acidic nature. We are discussing about the acidic nature, right? So acidic nature, nothing but how can you determine the acidic nature? The substances which is releases easily the H plus ion. Okay, the substance is having the more acidic nature. When it is releases the easily H plus ion, when the bond between the hydrogen to other atom, when it is very weak at that time, that from the molecule the hydrogen can come outside easily, right? So now here we have to see hydrogen to fluorine. Fluorine atomic size is less. Okay, when the fluorine atomic size is less, here bond length is less. And here some bond length is more, here some bond length is more. Here iodine atomic size is very more. That's why hydrogen to iodine, the bond length is very more. When the bond length is more, we can say that the bond strength is less. Okay, at that time the bond we can break easily. The bond we can break easily. When the bond we can break easily, nothing but hydrogen can releases easily. So now in the hydrogen iodide, hydrogen to iodine, the bond length is very more. When the bond length is very more between the hydrogen to iodine, so due to the less strength of the bond, the hydrogen can releases easily. That means in the hydrogen iodide, it is acting as a strong acid. Next to hydrogen bromide, next of all hydrogen chloride, next of all what? Hydrogen fluoride. So this is the acidic strength or acidic order of the water binary acids of the 17th group of elements. Right. Next of all, dipole moment. Next of all, what? Dipole moment. So what is the dipole moment order here? Same in these acids only. So what is that? Hydrogen fluoride. Right. Next of all, what? Hydrogen fluoride. Next of all, hydrogen bromide, and next of all, hydrogen iodide. So generally, we know that dipole moment nu equal to Q into D. That means charge separation into distance between the two ions. Charge separation into distance between the two ions, right? So now here, distance between the two ions nothing but when we are going from the fluorine to chlorine, chlorine to bromine, bromine to iodine, the distance is increases. The distance is what happening here? Increases. Now, here, at the same time, when the distance is increases, due to the highly electronegative of the 17th group of element, on the hydrogen, a highly positive charge is possible. On the fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, highly negative charge is possible. So that means highly charges is possible on the hydrogen and halogen groups, right? Otherwise, fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine. So due to the highly charges is present on these atoms in the molecule, we can treat that. Otherwise, we can measure the dipole moment with respect to charge separation. We can measure the dipole moment with respect to charge separation. Comparing with the bond distance, we can give the more priority for the charge separation. Okay, compared to the distance between the two atoms, we can give the more priority for the charge separation. Because of that, highly positive and negative charges is possible in these atoms of in these molecules, right? So now because of that, we are taking the charge separation, we are taking as a factor compared to bond distance here. So due to the charge separation here, highest charge separation is possible in the hydrogen fluoride because of the more electronegativity of the fluorine. So due to that, dipole moment of the hydrofluoric acid is very more than the chlorine and then the bromine. So simply we can say that otherwise, so more electronegativity atom if it is present in the molecule, that molecule shows that dipole moment is more. Simply we can say that. So here fluorine is more electronegative, more dipole moment, next to chlorine, next to bromine, next hydrogen. So this is the dipole moment of the hydrofluoric acid, chloric acid, bromic acid and iodinic acid. So next one is melting point and boiling point. Next one is what? Melting point and boiling point of these molecules. So which molecule? Hydrogen fluoride, hydrogen chloride, hydrogen bromide and hydrogen iodide. Right. Melting point nothing but what? A solid is converting into liquid. A solid converting into liquid. Generally you know that melting point, when the molecular weight is increases, the melting point is increases. Molecular weight increases nothing but when you come from the top to bottom in the group, molecular weight is increases. At the same time the physical state of the substance also changes. Generally, which is having the highest molecular weight in the group, that is appearing in the form of solid state, right? So here melting point nothing but solid converted to liquid, right? So here which molecule having the more molecular weight here? Generally hydrogen iodide having the more molecular weight. So molecular weight is increases, the melting point of the substance also increases. So now finally we can say that hydrogen iodide is having the highest melting point. Hydrogen iodide is having what? Highest melting point is having. So then before the highest, after is what? So next, if you see the atomic mass, okay, if you see the molecular weight priority, hydrogen bromide will come. Okay, so but here what is happening here? Hydrogen fluoride. In the hydrogen fluoride, what is possible? Hydrogen bond is possible. Before we discuss. Okay, in the hydrogen fluoride, hydrogen bond is possible due to the highly electronegativity of the fluorine. In the hydrogen fluoride, hydrogen bond is possible. So due to the hydrogen bond, after the hydrogen iodide, highest melting point is possible for the hydrogen fluoride. Due to the water hydrogen bond. So due to the hydrogen bond, we cannot melt the hydrogen fluoride is easily. So because of the strong hydrogen bond is possible. So after that, due to the atomic molecular weight only, you have to take that hydrogen bromide and the next of all hydrogen chloride. So this is the melting point atom. Hydrogen iodide, hydrogen fluoride, next of all hydrogen bromide, hydrogen iodide. This is the melting point order of these group of hydrates, right? This is the melting point. So next of all you can see that is boiling point. So how can you take the boiling point? Boiling point nothing but what? Generally the liquids are converted to vapor, such type of temperature, or that point we call as simply boiling point here. So generally at 19 degrees centigrade or below the 19 degrees centigrade, the hydrogen fluoride is acting as a liquid. Okay, it is act as a what? Liquid. At what temperature? At 19 degrees centigrade, below the 19 degrees centigrade, the hydrogen fluoride is available in the form of liquid. So to that liquid, if you want to evaporate, is required take the it requires the more amount of energy is required. So that's why the boiling point of the hydrogen fluoride is more. Because first case it is appearing in the form of what? Liquid state. Okay, liquid state nothing but boiling point nothing but liquid converted to vapor. So that's why here what? Hydrogen fluoride is required the more amount of temperature to convert the vapor state. So highest boiling point is for what? Hydrogen fluoride, right? So after the hydrogen fluoride, next of all is depending on the order of molecular weight. So next what is coming? Hydrogen iodide, next of all same hydrogen bromide, and the next of all same hydrogen chloride. So in the same place, hydrogen chloride, hydrogen bromide, so same place is there, but instead of the hydrogen fluoride and hydrogen iodide, the places will be changed here. If you come to the melting point, hydrogen fluoride, hydrogen iodide is coming, but same if the boiling point, hydrogen iodide and hydrogen fluoride will come. So this is if you change these small thing, okay, you can understand the melting point and boiling point easily. You can understand the melting point and boiling point very easily if you understand these only these two. Okay, in the melting point, hydrogen iodide is more. Okay, so next of all, in the boiling point, hydrogen fluoride is more. Okay, these places are interchanging. The remaining hydrogen fluoride, hydrogen bromide places are same. So this is about what? Melting point and boiling point of the binary acids of the 17th group of elements. Melting point and boiling point of the what? Binary acids of the 17th group of elements. So this is the melting point and boiling point. So after the melting point and boiling point, next of all, oxoacids of halogens. Next of all, what? Oxoacids of halogens. Right. So what is the generally oxoacids? Oxoacid nothing but simple definition I will give that. So any hydrogen, the combination of hydrogen, next of all halogen, and the combination of oxygen. Simply this combination we call as a oxoacid. What is the combination? Hydrogen, halogen, and oxygen. Okay, these combinations generally we call as a oxoacids, right? So now, for example, I'm taking that chlorine. Okay, and one of the exception is fluorine does not form the oxoacids. Fluorine does not form the what? Oxoacids. So why fluorine does not form the oxoacid? Nothing but here fluorine electronegativity is very more compared to oxygen. Okay, when the fluorine electronegativity very more compared to oxygen, and the fluorine negative charges appear. Okay, so due to that reason, the halogens, in that halogen, fluorine does not form the oxoacid. Except the fluorine, the remaining elements, chlorine, bromine, iodine, what is present? So due to the some less electronegativity compared to oxygen, the chlorine, bromine, iodine shows the positive oxidation states, and it will be form the oxoacids. But fluorine does not form the oxoacid, because fluorine always is available in the -1 oxidation state. Right. So now you see that here generally by the combination of hydrogen, halogen, and oxygen, we can write one general formula, that is HXON. By using this general formula, we can write the oxoacids, right? So I am writing the oxoacids of chlorine here. So what is the oxoacids of chlorine here? So HClO, next of all HClO2, the N nothing but number of oxygens here, HClO3, and next one HClO4. Next of all bromine oxoacids here I am taking HBRO, next HBRO2, next of all HBRO3, next of all HBRO4. Next of all here iodine you have to take HIO, next of all HiO2, next of all HiO3, and next one is HiO4. So these are the oxoacids of chlorine, bromine, and iodine. So what is the oxidation states of chlorine here? Central atom here. Chlorine oxidation state is what? +1. Because oxygen is -2, hydrogen is +1. The counterbalance will be +1. So next of all here what? +3. Next here +5, and the next one is +7. Not only these chlorines, every element here, bromine and iodine shows the same oxidation state, +1, +3, +5, +7. Right? This is the oxidation states here. Now these are the oxoacids of chlorine, bromine, and iodine. Now let us see acidic strength. Okay, let us see what acidic strength of these what oxoacids. Acidic strength of these oxoacids. Generally, acidic strength is dependent on the central atom oxidation state. Acidic strength is dependent on what? Central atom oxidation state. So in a molecule, the central atom, which central atom having the more oxidation state, generally we are considering that is shows the more acidic strength. So by the following factor here, so on this HClO, chlorine oxidation is +1, here +3, here +5, and here +7. So now here in the HClO4, in the perchloric acid, the chlorine oxidation state is very more. So because of the chlorine oxidation state is very more, the perchloric acid is acting as a strong acid in the compared to all the water chloroacids here. So now this is the highest acidic strength. Next of all HClO3, next of all HBRO3. Same factor it is follows by all the things. Okay, so we can say that depend on the oxidation state also we can say that. Otherwise, one more short method we can say that in which molecule generally more number of oxygens are there, so that molecule or the substance is acting as a more acidic strength. So in the perchloric acid 4 oxygens are present, here 3, here 2, here 1. So where the more oxygens are present in the perchloric acid, more oxygens are present. Because of the more oxygens present, this is acting as a strong acid. So we can remember these methods based on the oxidation state also we can say that, and based on the number of oxygens present on the oxoacid also we can say that. So this is the water oxoacid acidic strength, right? So next one, here highest oxidation, here highest acidic strength is water HClO4, in the bromine HBRO4, in the iodine HiO4. Now if you compare in these, which is having the more acidic strength, you have to see. So okay. So acidic strength generally we are saying depend on the oxidation number. Oxidation number is increases, acidic strength is increases. But here we are discussing HClO4, next of all HBRO4, next of all what? HiO4. Here every acid you take, acidic strength is same. HClO4, HBRO4, HiO4, the oxidation strength is what here? Same. So now here also +7, and here also +7, and here also what? +7. Oxidation state is same. But with respect to oxidation state, we cannot say that which is strong acid, because every acid is having the same oxidation state. With respect to oxygen, if you want to explain, oxygen is also same. Here also 4, here also 4, here also 4. So we cannot explain with the help of oxygen, we cannot explain with the help of oxidation number. So now, how can you explain here? See here, whatever the chlorine, whatever the hydrogen present in the perchloric acid, okay. So this here chlorine is present here hydrogen, next of all bromine, next of all iodine. In the chlorine, in the bromine, in the iodine, which is highly electronegative element here, chlorine is highly electronegative element compared to bromine, compared to iodine. So the hydrogen, okay, here in the perchloric acid, whatever the hydrogen is present, okay, thus hydrogen, that hydrogen is less affected by the what it is less affected by here what chlorine. So chlorine is a more electronegative element. Due to the more electronegative element, whatever the electrons are present between these atoms, the hydrogen and chlorine, that electrons are attracted by the chlorine. So at that time the hydrogen can release easily from the H04. But here what HiO4 less electronegativity. Iodine is less electronegativity. Due to the less electronegativity, this hydrogen cannot release this easily. But here what chlorine is more electronegativity. Because of the more electronegativity, here whatever the bonds is present between the oxygen to hydrogen and chlorine. Okay, so due to that bonding, here hydrogen is less affected by the chlorine. So that's why it is released as the very easily. So that's why in the perchloric acid, the acidic strength is very more. Next perbromic acid, next of all what? Periodic acid. So HCl4 is having the more oxidation, more acidic strength than HbRO4 and then HiO4. This is the reason here, right? So this is the very important acidic strength of HClO4, HbRO4, HiO4. HClO4 is having the more acidic strength due to the highest electronegativity of the chlorine here, right? So this is that, and the next one is the next one is the preparations of the chlorine. So next one is what? Preparations of chlorine. So how can you prepare the chlorine here? Preparations of chlorine we are discussing, right? So preparation of chlorine here. So for example here HCl, from HCl I am preparing. So I am taking the hydrochloric acid. I am taking hydrochloric acid reacting with the oxidizing agents. Hydrochloric acid reacting with what here? Oxidizing agents, right? So hydrogen chloride reacting with what? Oxidizing agents here, right? So what oxidizing agents I am taking? Here potassium permanganate I am taking KMnO4. Here potassium dichromate I am taking K2Cr2O7. Okay. Next of all here manganese dioxide MnO2 I am taking. Here I am taking the oxygen in the presence of copper chloride. Okay. This we can say generally Decaun's process also you can say that. Okay. I think you cannot see this one. So I am writing here. So here oxygen, HCl we are taking the presence of oxygen in the presence of CuCl2. Here copper chloride is acting as a oxidative catalyst. Copper chloride is acting as a catalyst, and this process we call it the Decaun's process. This process what we call very well known process, that is the Decaun's process. Now here HCl will react with the potassium permanganate here. Okay, whatever the substance are forming here, potassium reacting with the chlorine, potassium chloride is forming. At the same time, manganese reacting with the chlorine, manganese chloride is forming. Okay, next one here hydrogens and here oxygen is present, so it will be formed the water. At the same time, here chlorine is present, so it will be formed as a chlorine. Cl2 will be releases, right? So next one is what here? Potassium dichromate. Again, potassium and chlorine. It will be released as the potassium chloride. Next of all, chromium and chlorine is present. It will be formed the chromium chloride. Okay. So next of all, what here? Next of all, here hydrogen and oxygen. It will be formed the water. At the same time, it is released as the chlorine gas. Next of all, what? Manganese dioxide. Manganese reacting with the chlorine. It will be formed the manganese chloride. At the same time, water molecule will be formed. At the same time, it releases the chlorine gas also releases. Now next, when HCl reacting with oxygen, okay, HCl reacting with oxygen, this hydrogen and this oxygen will be combined, it will form the water, and this chlorine will be formed as a chlorine gas. So this is the products is forming when the HCl is reacting with oxidizing agents like potassium permanganate, potassium dichromate, and manganese dioxide and oxygen. So this is the what HCl reacting, otherwise preparation of the chlorine by the reaction of HCl with the oxidizing agents, right? This is the very important reactions for formation of the chlorine, right? So next of all, preparation of the chlorine is completed. So next of all, what preparation of the what reactions with the chlorine. So reactions with the chlorine. So what is the reactions with the chlorine? Preparation of chlorine is completed. Next one is the reactions with the chlorine, right? So reactions with the chlorine. Reactions with the chlorine, right? So what type of reactions with the chlorine is possible here, right? So generally reactions of chlorine nothing but chlorine react with sodium hydroxide. Here chlorine react with sodium hydroxide. Here sodium hydroxide we can take as a two types of sodium hydroxide we can take. One is cold and diluted sodium hydroxide. Next of all, same sodium hydroxide here, but strong and hot. Otherwise hot and strong or concentrated. Okay, so hot and concentrated NaOH and cold and diluted NaOH you are taking. When chlorine gas here, okay, when the chlorine is reacting with the cold and diluted sodium hydroxide, it will be form the what will be formed? It will form the sodium chloride. Okay, Na, and this is combination of chlorine sodium chloride will be formed, and NaClO and H2O will be formed. So sodium chloride will be formed and NaOCl. Okay, so next of all, and what is possible? H2 here oxygens are there, so it will form the H2O. It will form what? H2O will be formed. Next of all is reacting with the hot and concentrated. It is react with the hot and concentrated sodium hydroxide. It will be formed the same sodium and chloride. Sodium chloride will be formed. Again same water will be formed. But here instead of the NaOCl, it will be formed the NaClO3. It will be formed what? NaClO3. So this is a formation of the reaction of the chlorine with the hot and cold NaOH. So cold and diluted NaOH and hot and concentrated NaOH when it is reacting with the chlorine gas, these are the products is forming. So it is very, very important. So reactions. At the same time, one more reason, when the chlorine is reacting with the ammonia, excess of ammonia. When the chlorine is reacting with excess of ammonia. So chlorine is reacting with the excess of ammonia, what product is forming? When the chlorine react with the excess of ammonia, it will be formed the ammonium chloride. It will be formed the ammonium chloride. At the same time, nitrogen gas is releases. When it is reacting with the excess of ammonia, chlorine react with excess of ammonia, ammonium chloride and nitrogen gas is liberated. But the same ammonia react with excess of chlorine. Same ammonia here react with what? Excess of chlorine. Now here chlorine is excess. In the starting case, ammonia is excess. Now what is excess? Chlorine is excess. When ammonia reacts with excess of chlorine, it will be formed the NCl3 will be formed. In the same time, here hydrogen is there and here chlorine is there. It will be formed the hydrogen chloride also. It will form the what? Hydrogen chloride. So here these are very, very important here. When the chlorine is reacting with excess of ammonia, it will be formed the ammonium chloride and nitrogen. But the ammonia when is reacting with the excess of chlorine. Okay, here excess of ammonia, excess of chlorine. When you take the excess of ammonia, ammonium chloride will be possible. When you take the excess of chlorine, NCl3 and HCl will be possible. So this is the water reactions of the chlorine. Right. Next of all, reactions of the chlorine with the metals and non-metals. Reactions of the chlorine with water, metals and non-metals. So when the reaction of chlorine with metals, metals like water, metals like aluminium, metals like iron, and metals like sodium. Okay, reactions of chlorine with the metals. Reactions of chlorine with the metals, right? For example, what sodium react with the chlorine, it will be formed the sodium chloride. Well-known example, right? So next of all, aluminium react with the chlorine, it will be formed the aluminium chloride. So next of all, iron react with the chlorine, it will be formed the iron chloride. So these are the very, very, very known examples, right? So next of all, these are the what reactions of chlorine with metals. When the reaction of chlorine with non-metals, nothing but, for example, if you take the phosphorus when it is reacting with the chlorine, it will be formed the phosphorus trichloride. It will be formed what? Phosphorus trichloride. So this is the reactions of the chlorine with the metals and reactions of the chlorine with the non-metals. So this is the what simple topic of the what 17th group of elements. These are the reactions are very, very important, and this is the very, very short notes for the what preparation for the short time for the NEET. Right. This is the very, very important topic. Right. So this is the group 17th elements, and we will be see by the next class we will be see with another topics. Right. Thank you.